and welcome to Ambassadors of Recovery Radio. I am your co-host, Desiree Vilpondo.
I am your host, Anthony Delatorre.
And I am the permanent guest, Miranda.
Also co-host.
Co-host. Wow,
Yeah.
cute.
Moving on up.
Co-host, Miranda.
You caught that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
So
I want some more of that. Co-host.
yeah. All right. So today, we're gonna let's start off just checking in with one another, seeing how we've been. We haven't had an episode in a long time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to start us off?
Sure.
Okay.
New things that I guess I could discuss are I'm starting school tomorrow.
Oh.
ASU, my
Yay.
master's program that Miranda has done. So master's program for social work to eventually become a licensed clinical social worker.
Nice. Since the last one, I feel like a lot's happened, but it's hard to like rewind really quick, you know. Let's just go from the past week because we're going to talk a little bit more about the conference. We went to a conference for what was it called again?
Southeastern Behavioral.
Eastern or Western?
No, I think it's Eastern.
And it's called SWS. That's what messed me up because I'm like Southeastern.
Southwestern?
Hold on.
All right, we're on pause. We're figuring that out. While she looks that up, so we went to this conference. There was a lot of topics that were discussed. It was pretty cool. I really got a lot out of the self-care stuff.
Okay, so you went to some sessions for
Southwestern School for Behavioral Health Studies.
You're welcome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right.
How many days was this conference?
It was a week long.
Week long.
I went for
conference in Phoenix, Arizona.
yes.
Okay.
I only went for 2
shit.
days.
Okay.
It's all right.
Wait, what happened?
Because she's good. But we're separating from that, so it's all good. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Phoenix, Arizona. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
Anyways, it was a week long. I went for 2 days. You went for one?
I went for 1 day.
Yeah.
And you presented, right?
And I was a speaker there, yes.
Okay. Would you like to expand on you speaking?
Yeah. So the presentation that I did was on disparities in the criminal justice system.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a good topic.
Yeah.
I am a probation officer, but I do know a little bit from the macro and micro level, the lived experience as a probation officer in the criminal justice system, a failing system, which I have wanted to pioneer positive change and lead the way in criminal justice reform, right? That has been my goal in the last 7 years as a probation officer. But we'll just say change comes slowly.
Yeah. You want to share what you presented on?
Yeah. So, and this is a topic I'm very transparent that I'm not very knowledgeable in, but I feel like it's something that needs to be known and addressed, and there needs to be more light shed on it, which is why this is a topic that was chosen to do my research on.
Cool.
So my presentation really consisted of mass incarceration.
Did you have, before you go on, when you're mentioning your presentation on mass incarceration, did you actually get the statistic to see where Arizona lies in mass incarceration? Like, I know we are one of the highest in the nation. Do you know what number we are?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
No
We
worries.
are one of the highest in the nation.
we are in the top 20 for sure.
Yeah. And so it was really diving into mass incarceration, the amount of people of color that are incarcerated, and the fact that they have harsher charges from arrest to sentencing than white individuals. We discussed the impact that has on the children, having their parents who are incarcerated, and we went over like the ACEs, which is the scale, this assessment that's done on kids, showing how children of parents who are incarcerated are more likely to also themselves end up in incarceration.
Right, and continue the cycle.
And continue on to that cycle. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I can see like your wheels turning.
Yeah. Oh, but I think I already lost it. Okay. Children continuing the cycle. What did you mention before the children?
Mass incarceration,
And then
people of color having
Oh.
harsher charges.
harsher charges. Okay, something I want to bring up. I saw in another podcast one time. I don't know where I saw it online, but there's like a lot of misinformation online, right? I saw that it was a myth that systemic racial oppression within like the criminal justice system does not exist. So I went to college, undergrad, criminology. One of my classes, we literally learned about like case. We got to see like a video and documentary on like two cases that were essentially the same: white man, black man, same criminal history, same crime. And the white man got probation and the black man got like life in prison.
Right.
So it is absolutely real. Okay, it is absolutely real. And I see it all the time on my caseload. I can tell you my black participants, African American participants, have a much longer criminal history. So from the beginning, they're stereotyped and charged more. They're booked into the county jail more, but their criminal history is always way longer. And so yes, that is an issue, and it is real.
Yeah. So we had covered that. We had covered the impact that it has on children. We covered the levels of chronic health conditions that individuals who have been incarcerated have, and how individuals who are in prison have higher rates of infectious diseases, and that is due to the mass incarceration, poor ventilation within the prison system, as well as long wait lists and limited resources for medical care.
Also, probably just like the environment, right? It's very toxic, and then a lot of times they're put in solitary confinement. So, what it does to their mental health, and let's remember that mental health affects your physical health. Your body follows your mental health. So, if you're in solitary confinement, we are not made to be in solitary confinement. Like, I don't know how we're still doing this to human beings.
Well, and because I work in behavioral health, obviously we tied it into not only, we went over the social determinants of health, so your physical health and your mental health. And then we really dived into individuals who are incarcerated who have an SMI determination. And half of all individuals who are incarcerated who have attempted to commit suicide, 15 to 20% of those individuals have an SMI determination. So the impact, right, that it has. And then we showed a few TED Talks. There was one, it was pretty incredible. This girl did a TED Talk. Her brother has a serious mental illness, and he was in a state of psychosis. And so they had called the crisis line. They had called the police thinking that they were going to get help. And then instead what happened is her brother was arrested, and he was charged as a felon. And the impact that had not only on their family, but on her brother, who was having an episode of psychosis and needed help, but instead was treated as a criminal and put into jail and did not get the services that he needed. Which is super disheartening and very unfortunate. So it was really being able to tie together the impacts that the criminal justice system has on individuals physically and mentally,
And their whole family.
and their whole family, and then the lack of resources and funding, because the criminal justice system solely relies on probation, parole, and grants. And it's more.
What about private prisons?
So we didn't dive super into private prisons. We did discuss the difference between the normal prison and private prisons. It's just unfortunate. I feel like across the board, right, it's more of a transaction than a transformation. People are so focused on the more people that you have incarcerated, the more money that the system makes. Instead of what are we doing? The other thing that happens is that prisons and jails don't actually help the individuals target the core beliefs and environments that they came from that cause them to commit crimes to begin with. So they're not actually getting to the root cause to help these individuals transform and change to be upstanding citizens and get their lives.
Recidivism, so they don't come back.
Exactly.
That's not the cycle,
That's not the focus.
That actually brings me to the actually next one I was going to talk about, the show that we've been watching, right? So to fill you in, when we're talking about this, it's roommate or inmate to roommate.
Inmate to roommate.
Yeah,
On Hulu.
yeah.
You can
It's
plug it.
yeah, it's yeah, it's
Inmate to roommate.
inmate to roommate.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you check it out, you see it, and it's actually pretty cool. One of the things that really stuck out for me when I was watching it was a lot of these people, they're coming out and they're not ready for the world. So if you think about it in any terms of anybody being locked down for an extended period of time, when you get out, you're gonna have this sense of like, okay, I'm free. I want to go. I want to do me. So they get into these environments with these roommates, and the first thing the roommates do is they're thinking, oh, they need rules.
Wait. Get into environments with roommates.
Yeah. So these people actually offered to allow them to parole to their house.
So these are the pen pals that they start writing while they're in prison.
Yep.
Or they know them already.
Okay, and so they're writing them in prison, and they allow the inmates that are in prison to parole and
Right.
move into their house.
Well, the main statistic that they quote in there is basically that recidivism's dropped on, like, I want to say something close up to 50% is high, right? If they have a home to parole to, if they have a home where they have support to actually
A
get that.
sober, supportive environment.
Right.
Okay.
So these people get there to this home, and like there's one where this guy was friends with the inmate's father. The inmate's father passed away. He allowed him to come stay with him and his girlfriend. Girlfriend has had bad experience with, I guess her ex-boyfriend OD'd on heroin. This gentleman, he's an addict, coming out, and so like you could just tell right away. Her guard is up on him entering the house and stuff like that,
Yes.
and so throughout the trend with all of them is you see them trying to set these rules down with them. And of course, anybody that just got out of an environment where rules, right? They're not going to want to adhere to those. And I just feel like if we had a way to teach them inside, there's rules wherever you go, right? So if you're preparing them for life outside and saying, okay, if you use this as a benefit, if that makes sense, use the way MRT talks about being in your prison, right? You're in a prison. You can put yourself in a prison without being in prison, right? So if you're in prison and you have rules to adhere to, know that when you get out, there's going to be rules no matter what. You go to work, you have to be there on time, you have to dress right, talk right.
Well, let's also sort of break it down and break down the complexities and the challenges of reentry, whether it's long-term in prison or in jail.
Right.
So I think what's happening is they're in fight or flight. Within the first 2 weeks that they're out, they are completely overwhelmed and anxious, which is what we see very often with our participants coming from jail going into rehab. So I think it is the anxiety and them feeling overwhelmed from being in fight or flight. Maybe they're institutionalized, so they're sort of in this shock.
Right.
So they're in survival. And so that might be why they fall off or it's hard for them to follow rules. So what can we do, or what can these roommates or whoever is allowing them into their homes do? What can they do to help in that situation? Because I think that's probably the brunt of why either they relapse, they get triggered, or they're not able to really follow rules when they get out. What do you guys think?
I will say, and again, this is not a topic that I am knowledgeable in. I personally have never been incarcerated. However, being from an outsider's perspective, doing research, talking to clients, talking to my staff who have been incarcerated, I think that the biggest issue is that the system is not set up to help people succeed. It is meant to keep people in. The other thing that I have learned about the prison system is that the prison system does not allow for people to want to get help, because you need to survive. So you're put, it's all survival. And it's one of those things where I feel like the inmates run the prison. And so in order for things to change, I think on the inside, there needs to be rules that are put in place that people are required to follow. I think that comes with breaking the way that the system currently is running, because if you don't follow those rules, right, then you're looked at as selfish, and you don't have the ability to go get therapy or go to groups or do these other things, because you have to be ready to fight or whatever happens, you know what I mean? And I think that the biggest thing that needs to change is the system.
So it is the system. They do have to follow a lot of rules in prison, but I think there's a breakdown because they they're literally in gangs. It's like this hierarchy where they're in this like mindset where it's all like you were saying, they're pretty much like doing whatever they want, but then they break the rules and they go into solitary confinement, and it's all like bad, especially in the men's prison. Men's prisons are much more violent, and men are more at risk of getting injured, TBI, dying, getting stabbed, all of that stuff, right? So there's rules in place, but like how does our prison system change, because reform is coming, and how is it like how does the prison change its rules to where, I don't know, maybe their consequences change. I don't know what needs to change to where they can, I don't know. I don't know. Have you seen that other documentary, the one where the I think it was a county jail, not a prison, but the sheriff decides to,
Open it up.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw that one.
leave the doors unlocked. And obviously there's a lot of issues, and they still, like, were using drugs and doing all kinds of stuff. But the I think the premise was like what I got from it was if we like trusted them a little bit more or treated them more like human beings,
Right.
and with more programming and things that gave them purpose and really addressed, the root cause of everything. I think I think then maybe they'll move away from their survival mode and like gang mentality and all the violence and stuff. I don't know. I think trusting and treating them more like human beings.
Yeah, I think it goes, it's not just the rules, right? But I think you made a good point that it goes far beyond just that. And that is doing more programming and treating these people like human beings because they are, and putting them in a position to want to help them change,
Yes.
not just locking them up and
Like
saying,
leadership positions, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That somehow can keep everyone safe. Have you, in your research with the presentation, did you look at any other prison systems in any other countries?
We did not. We just solely focused on Arizona.
So, I haven't done a lot of research, but I'm betting, just from what I've heard and what I've seen, a tiny little bit of research is other. So we're falling behind, like our country is falling behind in so many systems, education, criminal justice, everything. But there are prison systems in other countries that treat their prisoners or inmates with dignity and respect, and really treat them like human beings, and they really like care for them. They care for them, and they create this healthy environment for them, and their outcomes and results are like 10 times better than ours. They're not treated like, like we treat them and put them in solitary confinement, probably making everything, their mental and physical health, worse. And also, just like if we look to other countries that are leading in like criminal justice and prison systems, I think, yeah, they just treat them better. And if you look at one of the reasons, like the root causes of why they start using drugs and committing crimes, is because of the fear of not being loved, right? So they're like, well, F it, no one cares about me anyway. That's like the mindset that gets them in there in the first place. So, and then the prison system is just showing them more that they're alone and that they don't care.
I was going to say, I can't speak from the prison aspects. I've never gone to prison, but I can tell you from jail. And I feel like if you start with the jail, that might get a little bit, that might start some change. The prison, I feel like, is going to be a little bit more systematic. I feel like the system itself is really, really bad from the beginning, especially because a lot of inmates run it, especially from the perspective I've heard from, friends that have been in. But from jail, I can tell you my experience has been that it's something like, Miranda and I have talked about. It's transactional, right? Like you are there to wait until you're seen a judge. They got to manage you, liability, whatever that looks like, making sure that you're not harming yourself. You're going to detox.
Or
Done.
harming others.
Right, right. And in there, the premise behind that, the jail show that you're talking about, whatever, was basically, instead of keeping them confined in this area where they're not being able to do stuff, whatever, give them the freedom, but allow them to have the responsibility to manage it.
And manage themselves.
Right, right.
Yes.
So I feel like if there was some incremental changes in there and a mind shift change in there to say basically, like, I don't know, some kind of incentive with your time there, like when you get out, what's the plan, right? Because I can tell you, as soon as you detox, everyone's talking about like, okay, I'm not going to do that dumb shit again, ever again. But then you get out and you're right back into the same cycle again, you know? And so when you get out, you're going right back home, and it's not like you have anything set up. And sometimes you're just going right back out to the streets, you know what I mean? If not most of the time. And so if you don't have a plan in place, you're going to fall right back on your face. You're going to be right back in there. Right. So I feel like while you're in there, those programs in like, how are you going to get a job? You know, like how are you going to, support yourself? What is a plan when you get out of here? Where are you going to live? You know, giving classes on that. I feel like, maybe mentor programs. I don't know, going in there from people that have been in there, lived experience, whatever, to help them and instill in them that you need to have a plan in order to succeed out there. Giving, life skills, different, programs like that. I feel like that open jail mentality for sure could benefit you, but I feel like you still need to learn something coming out, right? Because the only thing
Life
that's
skills,
right,
yeah. And none of them have life skills.
the only thing that's being taught is survival skills, or you're learning how to do crimes, like somebody else did, and you're learning how to get away with, something more, right?
And actually, research shows that.
Right. So all you're doing is setting them back out with an education of more survival skills that is just street skills. It's not anything to integrate them right back into society. Right.
I know there are prisons, especially probably recently, that are moving towards reform and probably do have a lot more systems in place, a lot more programs in place that probably are seeing these deficits and these challenges and probably implementing programs that do help them with life skills. But yeah, I think going forward, it's like life skills are huge. Like, I mean, that's something that we see with our population, right?
Right.
Man.
Well, my other thing too is so I can tell you my last experience in jail was so I spent the majority. So this is during COVID, and 1A is already detox, but that was going to be like your what was it when you when you separate somebody for COVID? What's that called? Quarantine. That was a quarantine pod too, right? Mm-hmm. So I remember I was actually in there for I want to say a good 34 days. And in 1A or whatever, it's like 23 an hour, half lockdown. And if they're acting up or somebody's detoxing and spazzing out, they're not going to let you out for day room, So you're in your cell with whoever, whatever, whoever's detoxing, throwing up, not eating, smelling, whatever that looks like. And then, for a fact, most people don't have anybody to really call, So you're not even really, worried about, you can't really even worry about getting money in your books and shit because you're just trying to get through it and you're hoping that maybe you get bonded out or, that you get seen by a judge before then so you can get out, But in that quick period, all you're doing is just trying to,
get through the day.
Yeah, just get right. And then and then what sucks.
Survival.
And then what sucks is that you leave or whatever, and you're like, hell yeah! Like anybody that's in a confined space for that amount of time, you look at them out. That's like you're gonna go a little bit over to the deep end, right? You're like, okay, I'm free, And so you're gonna take advantage of that. And there's like this readjustment period where you're like, okay, I'm free. I can, But in between there is you're at this high risk moment of keep going,
Well, that was one of the things that we had touched base on too, is the lack of support that people have. So they get out.
Coming out.
Yep. So they get out and they don't have housing, right? So they go back to the streets. And then because they don't have supports, they go back to the same people they're hanging out with before. So they're continuing to do the same behavior.
Right.
The lack of education, because when they're incarcerated, there is long wait lists or limited resources. And then the struggle to get employment because there's background checks everywhere now. There's 1 in 4 adults is a felon. So if they do find employment, they are paid lower wages than anyone else that works there. And they're not put into a situation where they can grow into and succeed into a career. It's just a job. And then, of course, if you're dealing drugs or you're stealing or you're doing whatever, they typically make more money doing that. And so they're not put in a position where they can actually make an income that's going to help them be stable. So they go back to what they were doing before.
Another program I saw that was actually overseas, I want to say it's like Denmark or something like that, but basically what they do is they have incentives for jobs where they tell employers, like if you hire them, for the first year or whatever, like they actually help pay the salary or something the government does, help pay the salary, and they help get them housed, right? And it's
what country?
I want to say Denmark or something like that. I've seen it. It's amazing.
They're like way behind.
Right, so you're sitting. So instead of an employer saying, "Oh, well, you have this background, blah blah," you're already so before you get
the government's giving incentives to hire them, That's amazing.
And before they get out, I think they get screened to see if they qualify for that program, right? To see if they're going to take it seriously, right? So then now it's like instead of it being like a pro home or whatever, it's like actual like their own place, and then now they have a secure job for a year, and they prove that they're going to maintain it, and the success rate is amazing. Like people actually, and I think that's a big thing even in addiction, like. As you have to fill your time and your mind with something new. You have to learn something all new. I didn't know how to live a normal life,
And
then
you still have to find things you enjoy, too,
right,
because you're giving up something that you thought you enjoyed in
right,
your active use. So finding purpose, finding new things to do, fill your time, like you're
right,
saying, but also sober things that you enjoy.
right. And that takes time. Like
It all takes
And I think it's far
time.
beyond finding something you enjoy doing. It's finding yourself, because
You're
when you're
right.
doing drugs, you're numbing,
Yeah,
you're self-medicating, and so at that point you get sober and you're like, oh, this is really scary, and I don't even know who I am. I don't even know what
Right.
I like to do, and now I have to find this whole new life that brings me purpose and like figure out who I am as a
everything.
person,
Right.
and change everyone that I hang out with, and change my lifestyle, my daily routine. Like there's so much.
Right. Tell me what it looks like to find yourself. What does that mean, find yourself?
I can tell you real quick. So I listen. We're going September 14th will be 3 years for me. 3 years of sobriety, right?
wow.
Yeah.
Yay.
September 14th. Yeah.
Yay,
Thank you.
congrats! 3 years.
I
That's
appreciate you.
awesome.
Golden number 3.
Yeah. I've
That's
no.
exciting.
So I always talk about how like I got 4 years clean at one point, but I've shared this from day one to almost year 3. I've learned more in these past 3 years than I ever did in those 4 years, right? I didn't start learning about myself, learning about what I needed to love myself, to, practice self care, to figure out who I am until around year and a half to this recent second year mark, right? And it took me you're so used to it. We're talking like a third of my life, if not more, has been in the streets doing drugs, just being an addict, right?
So undoing the repetition of
You're-
that lifestyle and those mental habits and everything about it.
And so you talk to people and you're like, well, what do like you always talk about like, oh, well, go hiking, go this, go do that, whatever. But your mind is still like, you're trying to figure out like, you're still isolating in your place that feels comfortable. Like you don't really even really have functional friends. So you got to force yourself to even make friends. You got to force yourself to even have, healthy communication with people to make friends. You got to force yourself to have healthy communication in the workplace to have work friends. It's something completely different you haven't ever really experienced. So you're managing all that, and then you're trying to figure out who you are. It's gonna be exhausting, and so like I feel like you have to give yourself
And
time.
overwhelming.
Yeah, you have to give yourself time, and in order to like, it's gonna take time for you to figure out who you are, who you're gonna look like, and what you're gonna want to be. I don't expect you after spending a majority of your life in addiction to know where you want to go. That's the whole beauty of it.
Even within the first year.
But that's the whole
Yeah.
beauty of it, is you get to take this time to figure out what you want to do, who you are. What's your answer to it?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. October 24th, I'll be sober 7 years.
Nice.
And I don't think I still fully know who I am.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
I think that's like a lifelong journey at that point. I mean, like, for me, I started doing drugs when I was 11 years old. So, like, I did drugs more of my
That
life.
was the norm.
That was the norm. And then when you grow up and both my parents were addicts, and then, like, my best friend, her mom was a heroin addict. And so you're like, woo, like, this is, like, that's
yeah.
it, like, you don't know anything else.
Right.
And so it, like what Anthony said, right? People are like, oh, go hiking, go do this. And you're like, okay, yeah, well, I'm trying to stay sober right now. Like, I'm trying to like
Yeah.
change my mindset and whatever.
I'm just treading water. Right?
Yeah, I'm just
I'm just trying to get through the hour.
Yeah,
Right.
like I'm floating above water right
Right.
now. And so that was like trying to change my entire lifestyle to figure out, and that's when I got addicted to cleaning. And like, because
right.
you're like, all right, well, what am I going to do with my time instead of doing drugs?
Yeah.
And so I started cleaning all the time.
Yeah.
And like
I
that's
have
still
a participant that's doing that, and it's amazing because she really does. She cleans and turns everything beautiful in her living environment.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that have stuck with me still to this day. Like my house, I take pride in the fact it's pristine.
Spotless, yeah.
That's
At
the
all
cancer in you, though.
at all
Like,
times.
Taking pride in your home is cancer to the T. That's amazing.
Yeah, and like and then it took a lot of therapy, a lot of
Right.
journaling, I read self-help books like from here to Timbuktu.
Affirmations are my thing.
Affirmations, I love
the
them.
Next episode, we should share all the self-help books we've read.
Yeah.
Yes, I have
you
quite a
ever-
few.
Have you ever heard of the Sedona method?
Sedona
Oh, you guys
method.
are going to
No.
a retreat at Sedona together, right?
You're coming too.
No.
Why
Let's
are
start.
you not?
Let's start researching the retreats.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But if it has to be in Sedona, I'll do Sedona. Just as long as we go to a retreat.
What's up with your thing against Sedona?
Just because I live in the desert, I want to experience something
Have
new.
you ever been to Sedona?
Yeah, of course, I love Sedona.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's a very beautiful.
But yeah, I mean, back to your question, like I think it's like an ongoing thing. I think
Right.
I have really been able to find my values and my morals and the life that I want for myself and the life that I want to provide for my child. But I think like finding who you really are is like an ongoing
Yes,
journey.
I agree. I think it is a lifelong journey. Yes.
That's the best piece of advice I ever got was just hang on, give yourself time, be patient with yourself. You've come this far, keep going. Just keep going, you know? You don't know where you're going, just keep going. And there's been times where I've just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going on this road. I've built this much. And then before you know it, it's like, oh my God, I got my daughter back from DCS. Oh my God, I have an apartment. Oh my God, I have a job. Oh my God, I have a car. Oh my God, I'm talking to my family. It's like, okay, well, I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you look back and you're thinking to yourself like, oh my God, I'm building a life for myself. I'm actually like, I'm doing this. And it gives me chills because I really feel like when you see that light go off in people's eyes, it's like, yeah, you can have that same thing. You just got to keep going, you know?
Keep going. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're in survival, whether they're in early recovery or transitioning from jail to the community, from prison to the community, it's just survival. So
Right.
just getting through the hour is a struggle for them. So just keep going.
Yeah.
Cuz that's simple enough and they can like process that. Cuz sometimes you when they're in fight or flight, when I'm transporting them from the jail to, yeah, they're not hearing anything. So I'm like, okay, I got to keep it simple, slow, and just like take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Well, I don't even say that because if I say don't use, I'm manifesting using. Because
Yeah.
you can say no to it, but you're still focusing on
Yeah.
it, right? So I'm sober. Stay in the program. Just stay. Talk to someone. If you feel like leaving, you're gonna feel like leaving. Just talk to someone.
Yeah. Do we want to segue over to your reading?
Oh, astrology.
Yeah. So you were talking about, what were you just saying there about her?
My cleaning
Her cleaning is what?
escapade.
Is Cancer
The
energy.
thing.
So I'm an astrologer. Miranda has graciously allowed me to do a real quick chart reading. This is her birth chart. If you don't know,
Let me share. I won't be talking. I'm going to just sit back and let her do it.
okay. If you don't know what astrology is, or what a birth chart is, it's basically a snapshot of the sky and all the planets, the exact moment when you were born. Why do I keep doing
You're blue.
so your birth chart shows where all the planets or cosmic bodies were the moment of your birth. So I have Miranda's chart up, her birth chart, with her exact time of birth, her date of birth, and the city she was born in. I won't share that information. But thank you for being vulnerable and letting me dig into a little bit about Miranda.
I'm excited.
So the first things I like to focus on with chart readings, because I like to focus on it. It was the first thing I started researching within my own birth chart, are considered critical degrees. Critical degrees bring an emphasis on this life lesson or this theme. And so whenever you have an angle or a planet placement at a critical degree, it brings a sort of like, it amplifies this lesson in your life or theme. So you have one of the most significant critical degrees that you can have, also known as the millionaire degree, the anoretic degree, the master of life degree, and you have it at one of the most significant placements, which is an angle. Your angles are basically, they are points in the sky, like your rising or ascendant is actually an angle, and it's the most eastern point in the sky when you were born. So the MC angle is, I don't know what point in the sky this is, but it represents the 10th house, the beginning of your 10th house, which rules over career. So your anoretic millionaire or critical fame success indicator degree is at your angle for your career. So it's your MC is at 29 degrees in Capricorn.
Scoot down. Let me make sure you're in this thing.
So, huh?
I'll make sure I'm turning my flicker out. Keep going. Yeah,
Am I?
scoot down. Yeah, scoot down.
I was out.
Yeah, just scoot down.
You've been out this
sucks.
whole time.
Have I been out this whole
I don't know about the whole time, but keep going.
Okay, so with the anoretic degree at an angle, that means you have two anoretic degrees at two angles because it is a line. So if you can see this MC right here, that rolls over your 10th house, which is your MC in 10th house is your career. So your anoretic degree is at your MC for career, and this line goes all the way down to your IC. So your IC rolls over and starts your 4th house. Your 4th house is for home and family. So after some very significance, this anoretic degree is a critical degree because it is the last degree in each sign. So each sign goes from 0 to 29 degrees. This is the last degree. That's why it's called the master degree, because it signifies that basically you're going to master these themes or lessons in your life. These themes or lessons are going to be within career, your public reputation, and then home and family, which is ruled by Cancer, and you're a Cancer sun. So that's wonderful. But anoretic degrees, unfortunately, come with a lot of hardship and trauma. So you will master these. You will master these themes or these lessons after some extreme hardships and trauma. So although the anoretic degree produces amazing outcomes and you grow exponentially, it's like your soul chose to pick this life to experience these extreme challenges, so that way it could catapult you into your soul growth in these areas of life. So you wanted to start off with a really challenging, I don't know if you I believe we picked our parents and you picked your experiences and your lessons, and you wanted to get the hard part over with so you can learn these lessons early on, so then it can catapult you into your growth and evolution. And that will be shown in your career and then your home and family. So after some major challenges within home and family and career, it will eventually come to coalesce into some major successes in these areas. So those are the things that are popping out to me the most, because 29 degrees I always have to bring up right away. So congratulations. Hopefully you've made it through the harder parts of those. It looks like in your career and home and family you have beautiful career and beautiful home and family. So the other critical degree that I am seeing. Oh, and so because your anoretic degree for MC is at 29 degrees in Capricorn, Capricorn, that's the cleaning part of you. Capricorn energy is the father energy. It rules over structure, organization. So it's the need to have things a certain way and clean and organized. So every time someone's very organized and clean, like my wife, she has a Capricorn moon. I'm like, oh, you have some Capricorn in your chart. So yeah, at work, I don't know, or is your office all beautiful and
My office. Very old.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
IKEA.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So you're mastering those lessons, and so I guess you're always gonna be this pristine and nice and neat boss wherever you go. So that's awesome. So that's Capricorn energy. Your other critical degree, which actually is the ruling planet of Capricorn, is Saturn. So Saturn is the planet of karma, limitations, restrictions, ruling over Capricorn, and your Saturn is at 0 degrees in Pisces. So Pisces is the poetic dreamer. It is the sign that rules over spirituality. So, what it shows me is that with this critical degree, 0 degrees, it's like this energy is very new for you in this life. And Saturn being at this critical degree, there's going to be an emphasis in you putting a lot of discipline in hopes and dreams, in like your imagination, visualization, creative pursuits, and also spirituality, also overcoming your subconscious fears. So, yes, a lot of discipline in that. And then over time, Saturn is also like I kind of like see Saturn as like wine over time. It just gets better and better and better as you get older. These lessons or these skills that you're going to obtain mostly in organizations and hopes and dreams, also with friends you're going to put a lot of like discipline, and how you structure your time with friends is also going to be like a big lesson for you, because this is all happening in your 11th house for organizations, hopes, dreams, and friends. So there's going to be a big emphasis on like yeah, discipline towards overcoming subconscious fears, addictions. Also, Pisces is ruler of 12th house for addictions. So a lot of discipline in your recovery, spirituality. Are you spiritual?
Uh,
Like not religious,
I'm not religious.
spiritual.
Yes, I'm spiritual.
Like me, spiritual.
Not as much as you.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's
I
fair.
am spiritual. You are
Okay.
like really, really spiritual.
Okay, that's
I-
nice to
no,
hear.
I think
That's a
no.
great compliment.
Like
Cool.
I wish that I was on that same level as
Okay,
you.
no,
because
that's
you
okay.
Are just cool as a cucumber.
Oh,
Like,
that's
everything
awesome.
Is so like
Everything.
you're just like flowing along like a little leaf in the wind.
Thank you.
No, it's
You want
fantastic.
to be around it.
Yeah, you want to be around it.
Okay, awesome.
So yes,
Well,
I'm
thank.
spiritual, but like not.
Okay, yeah. Not
on the
flowing
sa-
in the wind.
I'm not like a little leaf in the wind. No.
That's awesome. I'm gonna
you.
start calling myself a little leaf in the wind. A leaf. A leaf in the wind. Okay. Okay. Do you know your big three? Like your
sorry?
big three is your sun, moon, and rising. You don't even know your big three. Okay.
No.
You don't even
So-
know that?
Aside from that was the more complex things that always pop out to me. Those are your millionaire degrees. Not a lot of people have the 29 anaretic degrees, so those are very important. And then your
Does
zero.
that mean I'll be a millionaire one day?
You have the potential. Yes, we all do, even if you don't have the anaretic degree. But anaretic means like your hard lessons, your trauma that catapult you forward into like success. You have a much higher chance. Yes. Especially because there's this emphasis of you overcoming your subconscious fears with your Saturn, putting a lot of discipline into loving yourself and really overcoming your self doubts, and replacing any of your self fears with self love with your Saturn in Pisces. So, okay, so your big three, which is important. So we'll start with the basics. Big three. So you know you're a Cancer. Excuse me.
God bless you.
Bless you.
So our zodiac signs are actually our sun signs. So that means the sun was in Cancer when you were born.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. Okay, so the sun was in Cancer when you were born. And then your moon is actually I feel like the moon is the most important. The moon actually rules over Cancer. My chart ruler, I'm a Cancer rising, so my chart ruler is the moon. But your moon is, I feel like, the most important sign because it makes up the larger part of your personality. Because it's like your personality or the self you identify with when you're at home, and you get to like take the ego mask off and you don't have to worry about what people are thinking. So it's your more like emotional, authentic, genuine, emotional self at home. So you're a Libra moon. Oh, wow. Did we already figure that out? Did I already tell you that? I'm a Libra sun.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Libra moon. You're a Libra moon. Okay, so at home, which you've probably had to learn over the years to overcome, you can be a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
And probably a lot within your relationships too, because your north node is in your seventh house for relationships. So relationships are like your drive. So you can absolutely be a people pleaser at home. So with any sort of major Libra placement, sun, moon, or rising, is very important, which is part of recovery also. You have to learn to create healthy boundaries and put yourself first, and not always do everything for everyone before you do for yourself. Is that a lesson for you at home that you've had to learn? I mean, we all have to learn it, but Libra placements, especially Libra moon, Libra is the people pleaser sign. And I know.
Yeah, it's weird that you say that though,
Yeah.
because so I am not a people pleaser,
Oh, that's good.
except for when it comes to like people that I genuinely care about.
Yes, at home.
I
Like your
am
family.
like go, 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 and I
Yes.
will do everything for everyone
Yes.
but myself. And then at the
Yes.
end of the day, then I go to bed and I'm like, all right, whatever. Like everyone else is taken care of, and that's fine.
Okay. Yes.
So it's weird that you said that. Because it's really like in my day to day life, like I'm not a people pleaser.
Yeah,
But
you're
when it
like
comes
your
to-
queen energy, but at home, yes.
Yeah.
You're like you're doing
it.
all of it.
All the
Yeah. Okay, well, if you need help, with laundry or dinner anytime, let me know.
Yes, you're the best.
Yeah, I'm a Libra, and I'm a Libra sun. So my personality with my friends or coworkers is I'm a people pleaser, right? So over the years, I've had to learn because of my Libra energy to put myself first, especially in relationships, because relationships, very toxic and codependent because I was always giving, 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 never giving to myself, and that was obviously when I didn't know how to love myself. But I know you love yourself, but it is still hard to find that balance and to still sort of create boundaries with the ones you love. For me, it's
You
like,
almost feel guilty for doing something for yourself. Like, especially for me, if I work all day and then I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym, I'll, like, more than likely not go to the gym because I feel guilty that I'm not home, like, taking care of my family, even though I need to take care of myself.
right. Okay, so yeah. So it is the guilt. So what is it about Libra? I mean, and Libra rolls over relationships. So it is like our relationship with relationships, right? We have to overcome that guilt. Maybe that's some of the subconscious fears that you have to overcome, that guilt of not doing enough, that guilt, that fear of not doing enough, which is guilt. So that's something I always have to work on because it has taken me years to learn how to receive and to just say yes when people are trying to do something nice for me, So,
Worse the compliments. I'm the same way. Yeah.
yes.
horrible at compliments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even my husband, he'll be like, you're so beautiful. I'm like, you have to tell me that I'm your wife. And he's like, no, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like, no,
I'm
you're
being
just saying that to be
serious.
nice.
Yeah, no, 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 no. Yeah, so Libra energy. Your Libra moon. So that is the most significant placement is for me, I think, is the moon. And then your Taurus rising. So your rising, your outward physical appearance, how you make first impressions, and also how you see yourself, what you think and believe about yourself is like your rising sign, which is one of your angles, which rules and starts over your first house. First house is for self. And so the rising sign and the first house for self, how you see yourself, what you think and believe about yourself, this is your life force because just like in recovery, we are talking about, the life journey of discovering who you are. Over time, as we grow and evolve and we learn through experiences and challenges and even trauma and hardships, like over time, you evolve in how you see yourself. And as you learn to love yourself more and put yourself first, you change how you see yourself. Your self identity changes over time. So that is your rising sign. And for you, as a Taurus rising, you value more than anything safety and security. More than anything. Especially in relationships because your Venus is the ruler of love, finer things, money, so financial stability and security also, and relationships. You value more than anything. Your self identity is also tied to security and stability financially and with relationships.
That's weird.
Say it. Why? Why did you say it like
No, because it's true.
Oh no.
No, like that's one of the things.
No,
like,
because it's true.
no, my entire adult life, that's so weird because
Yeah.
for me, like, I determine my success like as a person, and my own like security in myself is based on my finances and how successive I am
And
how successful
relationships.
my relationships are. So that's why it's so funny. That's so weird.
That's your Taurus rising.
How weird, dude.
But Taurus rising is cool because it rolls over money, even though, like, this is where your value is tied. I would say at home, learn to do more for yourself.
So I'm turning into a therapist.
I'm just kidding. Dude, I have the sleep thingy on my phone too at like 7:32, and I'm always like, dang, I'm not going to sleep yet. Why is my phone like shutting off on me? Okay. Okay, so that's your big three. I guess we can end there, and if
No,
you
that's
want, that's only just a small portion of your chart, honey.
Gets into it.
Honey, that's
That's
nothing.
weird. I will also tell you that, so I'm like a very realistic person. It's hard for me to believe in things that I have physically not witnessed or have seen myself. So it's not that I don't believe in this. Let
In
me make it
astrology?
known. Yeah. So
okay.
let me make it known. It's not that I don't believe
you're
in
good.
this, but it's also one of those things where like I don't know how to, like, you go to a palm reader, right? Or like, I don't know, like a medium or whatever. And then they usually like say things that are very generic just
And
based
general.
on, yeah, that you're like, oh my god, you know me, whatever. Like, that's weird because like that was so spot on to just like me as a person.
Awesome.
Really
Yay.
weird,
So
though.
it's weird. Like, you're freaking me out.
Mine a long time ago. It was yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
no.
like spot on with
Yeah.
like,
No, it tripped me out. It tripped me out because it was like because you said it to me. You were like, yeah. It's just
well, let me make it known too. Like, me and Des have only met like a couple times.
Right.
Only a couple.
Well, no, even so.
We're like best friends.
I'm all shit on that. No, but it's just like really interesting because like you like, yeah, you know some about me, but like you don't know like a lot of personal
Like, your
things
internal,
about
yeah.
and so like you
Yeah.
saying those
Just
things,
wait.
you're like,
Just wait.
That's why I was like, are you sure it's okay? That
Yeah,
they're,
no,
like,
that's
read
totally fine.
into you? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like penetrating.
Going-
Going deeper.
She went deep.
You're gonna...
She was about to say it too. She's like, and I went deep.
She's all, and I penetrated you, and I went so deep.
She like dominated
So
you.
aggressive.
I fucking dominated you.
I'm so
How'd that feel? Good, right? I don't know you. I know you.
So I penetrated you.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry, God.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Fuck,
Not
dude.
being for
That was
it.
hilarious.
I'm like blushing.
Oh, that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
Oh my god.
That was
That's
hilarious.
so good.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
All right. Oh, man,
No, that was
good.
awesome. Thank you
Okay,
so much
well-
for doing that, though. That was awesome.
What? We could go deeper into your chart. But that's why I was asking your permission because I was like, no, I'm like gonna really go into like the whole of you, you know?
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's fair.
yeah. So there's more, but
Yeah, no, I'm also such an open book
got
that, like,
okay,
Just-
good.
yeah.
Well,
So
thank
it's
you for
on
being-
record. You got consent.
yeah, it's on record.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's hilarious.
Oh, that's good.
That's so good.
No, it was hilarious.
Okay.
You're awesome.
Wow.
All right.
I'm not embarrassed now.
That was the best.
No, I loved it. That was
I'm
right.
sorry. Yeah, I am probably a little red. It's
No,
okay.
you're good. You're good. All right. Do you want to sign out?
Yeah.
so that's our done.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for
Okay.
the research information.
Yeah.
Birth chart, and thank you for sharing your experiences, Anthony and Miranda. Can you guys end with like a little, talking shit to each other?
Oh.
Can you?
You're being a little crybaby bitch. Just kidding.
No, that's what we're gonna start out. The one I'm gonna do. Let's get drinks.
They
She's the
like
fucking worst.
And they
All
have
right.
this little banter, funny impressions or voices. The way they talk to each other is great. It's hilarious. Anyways.
There'll be more in the future for sure.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
All right.
I want more of it.
So till next time, I want to remind you guys to never give up and remember that you deserve nothing but the best.
And I want to remind you, especially if you are in recovery, we see you, we hear you, and we are here for you.
What they said.
Yeah. There we go.
Cut.
Wrap. Okay.
Ambassadors of Recovery Radio, breathing life into the souls with the podcast show. Real lives, real struggles, yeah, we grow together. As a community, we only trying to do better. New solutions, we trying to flip the script. We hear you, we see you, please don't ever quit. Don't ever give up, no, you deserve the best. Life change, bright flames, yeah, nothing less. I got life, I got love, so I know I'm blessed. Might not feel it, but I speak it, so I manifest. I'm perfect, I just do my best. I can't please everybody, I'm free of that stress. I got a voice, I got power, so I know I'm blessed. Might not feel it, but I speak it, so I manifest.